Hey there, and welcome to another presentation from my son. Hey there, and welcome to the kitchen system. I believe without a doubt that an organized kitchen can be within anybody's reach. So let's jump in. My name is Kim Kostek. I am a professional organizer, a Ziglar Legacy certified coach, keynote speaker, podcast host, summit host, and above all, a mom and a wife. So before we get started, there are some key points that I want everybody to understand and realize that everybody's kitchen is different. From size, style, location in your home, your habits, whether you bake, cook, diets, and the things and items that you own that are important to you within a kitchen, these all need to be taken into consideration as you transfer these ideas and these concepts into your own personal space. So, first, let's go over some organizing myths and what organizing actually is. So organizing being organized does not mean that everything is tidy and perfect and pretty all the time. That is a big myth that people confuse being organized and being clean, and they are absolutely not the same. Being organized, however, means that everything has a home and it cleans up faster. So that you can locate any item that you need very quickly and know where to put it away when you are done. So that is the basics and the foundation of organized as we move forward. So there are four main components of what create a mess in a home: mechanical, emotional, system, and situational. I go into these a little bit deeper into another video that you can find on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel. The information for that will be at the end of this video. So today, however, we are going to talk about the system part of the messes in our home. So I want you to take into consideration that sometimes mechanical issues, emotional issues, and situational issues can contribute or exacerbate the issues that we have with our system. But for the purpose of today's video, it is primarily going to focus on the kitchen as a system. All right, so there are four main components to a kitchen system: the groceries and the food, storage, cooking, and the dishes or the cleanup. First, the food. Let's talk about that. Now, if you take nothing else away from this presentation, I want it to be that you write your grocery list in the same order of where it is in the store. We're going to dive deep into this in the beginning and at the end because it's that important, and we'll see how it all comes full circle. But again, if you can write your grocery list in the same order of where it is in the store, you will save so much time. Okay. So the first part of the kitchen system is the food and the grocery shopping, the grocery list. So that's broken up into three sections: your list, your shop, and your store. So if you write your list down and categorize it and take a list to a grocery store, you are going to save so much time and so much money. And like I said before, we're going to also dive in even deeper at the end of this presentation. But more than anything, categorize your list by the department or the aisle of what you would find in the store, and it will make things easier. Because when you go to the store and you shop the next section of the system, I want you to shop by the aisle, not the list. So if your list is not in order, when you enter an aisle, go through your list and make sure that you find all the items that are on that aisle. So this way you can go through the grocery store in more of a methodical way instead of haphazardly. Another key takeaway that I want you to have is when you go to the grocery store, listen to music or a podcast. Put something in your ears. It will allow you the opportunity to stay focused on what it is that you are doing and not be so distracted by anything or anybody else that is going on around you. So this will also allow your brain to kind of just go into its own special zone. I will warn you though, wearing headphones in a grocery store, people might not realize that you are. So just pay attention to your surroundings a little bit more and where people are. Make sure that you're not in anybody's way. And I typically just smile and tap on my ear and they realize that I can't hear them. And then wave and then go about my business. If you have anybody that can go to the grocery store with you, then I highly recommend you to divide and conquer. My kids and I sometimes make a game of it. Who can get the most items the quickest? But as we divide and conquer, I make sure that I give them items that are, well, probably on the other side of the store so I don't have to walk so far, but also items that are in the same area or categories from each other to lessen the confusion. All right, so now you've got your list, you went shopping, you have brought everything home and it's time to unload it. Where are you going to store it? So having dedicated and designated homes for each of your food items is essential. So you know exactly where it is, whatever it is that you're looking for, and to know if you have enough of it. So I want you to think of things when you go to put your food away. Where was it found in the grocery store? What was it near? What other items are in the same family? Or how do you use it? For example, I drink sleepy time tea that I keep near my coffee pot, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But in my sleepy time tea, I use honey. So I don't really keep the honey in my pantry. I keep it in my coffee and tea station. So that's how I use it. However, if you don't necessarily use honey for that particular reason, then I would suggest to store it with your sweets or your condiments like the other syrups. So again, think about what else was on the aisle with it when you went and you purchased it. Because we have a tendency to make our brains think a little bit differently when we haphazardly put stuff in our pantry. But the grocery store has already laid out a concept for us. Let's just transfer it back to our actual homes. So grains near grains, baking foods near baking foods, spices near spices, breakfast foods near breakfast foods, including cereal, oatmeal, instant breakfast shakes, or if there's something special that you eat for breakfast, like granola or a protein shake or something, then you might want to store that all in the same area. So when you go to grab something, your brain isn't necessarily having to switch gears and reinvent the wheel. Right. So storage. We talked about food storage already, so I didn't necessarily include it in this next section, but storage is something really important for each of your items in your home. So I want you to understand the concept of everything in your home is real estate. And what is the value of the real estate that you're taking up? Our counter spaces, I would consider that prime real estate. That's the most expensive real estate in your home, aside from the floor. But we don't store very much on the floor in our kitchen. Maybe our pantry. But again, prime real estate. These are the things that you grab all the time. If you use your air fryer 2 to 3 times a week, then you might want to consider storing it on your kitchen counter if you have the counter space. Subprime real estate are those things that are a little bit more difficult for you to reach. And those are the things that you're not going to grab all the time. that you may grab them with intention. You know what you need, and so you have to go seek it out. But you don't necessarily want to reach over it every day. And then my favorite is free real estate. Free real estate can be found by making a shelf or using the back of a door as storage space with an over-the-door shoe organizer or something. This is free real estate that you have created in order to be able to hold more items. So as we go through the next slides with storage, I want you to really think about the real estate in your home and what is available. Okay. There are 4 main categories for storing items, and I'm not talking about utensils yet. That actually is sub into a different category. I'm sorry, I just lied to you. There are actually 5, but we talked about food storage already in your pantry. Let's talk about the items that you store to be able to make your kitchen function. So the 4 categories are prep, cook, serve, and entertaining. Prep items would be like you see on the screen, bowls, okay? Or they may be your measuring cups, things like that that you use to prepare food that are larger items, but not necessarily for any other purpose. And then cook, that would be your pots, your pans, your baking dishes, things like that. Think about where these items are, where they're being stored in relationship to where you actually use them. Are your prep items are stored necessarily near where the counter space that you use to prepare your food? Are your cooked items near where you use to cook the food? For example, your pots near your stove, your baking items near your oven. And then serve. These items would be like your regular usage plates, bowls, cups. And again, think, where are these in relation to where you usually put the food in each of these items, or where you get drinks from, or maybe even where things are in relationship to your sink or your dishwasher when you're done cleaning them. If you notice that you keep going to grab something in a cabinet that it's not in, then just take the time to switch the cabinets, so your brain isn't necessarily fighting against itself. The last category is entertaining. Entertaining are the items that you would use only if you were having guests over or only if it were a special occasion. For example, the turkey platter. You don't use or pull out your turkey platter for any other reason than Thanksgiving or Christmas or a big holiday. So why are you reaching past your turkey platter to get your plate or your bowl or something like that? So these are items that could be stored either outside of your kitchen or in the most subprime cabinet space, because it's okay to get a chair or a ladder to be able to get that item, because you're going to grab that item with intention. Cooking. The next section of the whole kitchen system is cooking. Now you're going to see 3 of the same categories that we were talking about before, but this is a little bit different. I want you to think a little bit more as utensils, okay? When you're in the cooking process, you have different types of utensils that you use. You have utensils that you use to prep, to actually cook, and to serve. And 9 times out of 10, when I go into a home, they're all in one drawer. So I'm going to recommend for you to either A, separate them into different drawers, or B, use drawer dividers. You can get them from Amazon or at the Container Store. If you're at the Container Store, I recommend Dream drawers. If you are on Amazon, I recommend the plastic ones that you can actually lock. Okay, so prep utensils would be the utensils that you use to prepare food, like your sharps, knives. can openers, a potato peeler, a cheese grater, whisks. These are all items that you use only really to prepare food. Sure, you might use a whisk when you're cooking too, but for the most part, you're going to use it to prepare. The items that you use to cook with, which should very likely be close to your oven or your stove as possible, would be your tongs, your spatulas, spoons that you use, like I said, to stir or dip soups, things like that. If you don't have a place outside or with your barbecue pit that you could keep barbecue utensils, then I would recommend you to keep them in this drawer as well. And then any food thermometers. Again, these are the utensils and the items that you use while you're cooking. Therefore, they should be in the same area together. And then the last category in the cooking piece of the kitchen system is serve. This would be your drawer that is for your cutlery, your eating utensils, forks, knives, spoons. Also, a pizza cutter. You use that to serve. You use that after the food is done. Any type of serving spoons that you don't use specifically for entertaining, then you can keep them in here. And an ice cream scoop or chopsticks, straws. These are all the things that should be in your serve drawer. All right. So the most fun of all is the cleanup process, right? Well, it doesn't have to be quite so terrible. When you think of the cleanup process, it goes into 3 subcategories as well. Storage, dishes, and then like I promised to you earlier, we're circling back around to the list. So your storage containers that you keep for your food need to be ones that you absolutely love. If they aggravate you for cleaning them, then go ahead and skip the dish and buy something a little bit better. Pyrex makes some amazing glass storage dishes that also stack relatively well inside of each other. Either way it goes, I recommend you buying storage dishes that do stack inside of each other. When you put food away, leftovers, in the refrigerator, section your refrigerator off for an area that is only intended for leftovers. And then I'm going to challenge you to clean out your fridge at least once a week the night before trash day. You might even want to make that night or the night before the leftover night. And whatever else is left, then you go ahead and toss it if it's not going to make it to the next trash day. Really think about the food in your fridge as you store it away. Is it worth the space that you're going to be taking up in their prime real estate of your refrigerator? Are you truly going to eat it? And if you question that, then I would recommend going ahead and tossing it. Or if you have a lot of leftovers, you can do what my kids and I used to do when I thought they were being wasteful, is we would box up our leftovers and go feed the homeless. All right, so the dishes. If you don't live alone, then I highly recommend for you to tag team the dishes with somebody. If you have a dishwasher, one person rinses, the other person loads. If you don't have a dishwasher and your hands are the dishwasher and you can tag team with someone, again, one person washes, another person rinses. Okay? I'm going to tell you one of the biggest mistakes that people make and why they dread the dishes so much is they have a tendency to wash one item as they need it. Don't do it. It not only wastes a lot of water, it also wastes a lot of time. Okay? So do not pull one item out of the dishwasher and leave the rest of them in there. I promise you, it's going to save you so much more time if you go ahead and just put them all away at the same time. If you're unloading the dishwasher, I recommend for you to pull everything out of your dishwasher first, put it on the counter, and then distribute them as needed. But go ahead and time yourself. I'm willing to bet it will take less than 5 minutes for you to be able to get all of your dishes taken care of. And then this brings us back around to the list. As you cook the items that you cook, then cross-reference it with your list. Is it already on your list, or do you need to add it back on? How much of it was left after you were done cooking? Do you need to go ahead and add milk? Go ahead and make that list, though, and let it be a living document where you add to it. And then before you go to the grocery store, that's where you take a couple of minutes to categorize what is on your list. There is also other options like Smart Lists. I use an app on my Apple device called Do.List. I love it and I live by it, and it helps categorize things for you. I also think the Fly Lady has an option out there too. There are so many options, so go ahead and take that extra step to categorizing, because it's going to save you so much time in the grocery store. On my Facebook, you can go back a few years ago to Thanksgiving, and I challenged how long it would take me to do grocery shopping for Thanksgiving for about 35 people. Not to mention the fact that my daughter has a lot of food restrictions, and so that just added to my time and the complexity of my list. So I had my list broken down by aisle or by food type, sections, and what have you. And I timed myself from the moment that I got out of my car to when I got back into my car. So that means not just shopping, but also checking out and unloading into my car. And 45 minutes is what it took, buying a complete Thanksgiving. So if you can do that for Thanksgiving, then you can do that for any day of the week, as long as you just have a really good list. All right, so we have gone over the 4 main components of a kitchen system: shop, store, cook, and clean. And I would like to invite you for the opportunity to be able to participate in a virtual organizing. If you find yourself is struggling a little bit more with your kitchen system, then a virtual organizing session might be good for you. We'll identify the causes of the mess, examine, revise, or develop new systems for your home, and create a detailed and customized plan. These virtual organizing sessions only start at $99. And although I'm not there hands-on with you, there are options for Zoom calls and FaceTimes, so we can talk a little bit more and figure out what might be going on, but you're able to implement the plan yourself, because a lot of times people just don't know where to start. All right, I want to leave you with one thought. We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. So if you want change, then you have to change who you are or what you are on the inside so you can become what it is that you want. All right. Thank you for your attention. And if you would like an easy way to schedule a virtual organizing assessment that has no charge, just scan the QR code on your screen. Or we can also connect via social media at Kim Kostek Coaching on Facebook, or you can go to my website, kimkostek.com, which will also have all of the links to any way to connect with me, including the YouTube channel where you can learn more about the reasons why we have MESSES and the acronym that I use, MESS. I hope you enjoyed this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you again another time. Bye-bye.